This is Buffalo's Uncensored Sports Show. You're watching Buffalo After Dark. Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, December 6th. And of course, you got the two of us here for another hour tonight. And first, Bob, how is things going? And you also got the new Road to 32 episode up.
Yeah, I did. My week in general has been pretty good. Nothing really pretty much going on lately. I mean, I've been doing a lot of holiday shopping, Secret Santa. Shh, I gotta keep that a secret.
Yeah.
And then
Still doing that too.
I got some Christmas presents already for my wife, so she's ready to go for the holidays. All I have to do is just wrap it up. And I will reveal one of the coolest presents on the show after Christmas, but I'm not spoiling anything right now, but she doesn't even know. So if she doesn't know, you're not going to know.
No, cool. Yeah. And then just thinking about it, it's only about a week out and you're up in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. I mean, next Friday morning, like early in the butt crack of dawn, maybe like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be driving out to Buffalo. So I will be with this fuckhead for 5 days in Buffalo. So it's going to be, so it's going to be you and me, my colleague, Chris Millman, well, my friend Chris Millman, we work together, and his brother Andrew is going to be coming with us as well. But it's going to be the three of us on Saturday when we go to Toronto. So that's going to be fun. And he's there ultimately for 3 days. And he's going to be coming with us to the Bills-Cowboys game next week.
Yep. And I have not seen the weather forecast for it yet, but apparently they're saying it's a good thing it's not this Sunday because it's going to be absolute shit. So here at the stadium. So that I did find out. But it actually reminds me, I still have to get a parking pass for the stadium yet.
Well, I'm dying to know the weather at this point. I'm dying to know the weather because I really, really want to know how cool it's going to be when I go to Buffalo next week.
Well, apparently it's supposed to rain all weekend for starters, and today it was only like in the 30s. So I would say dress warm and make sure you've got base layers or like the thermal clothes.
Oh, trust me, I'm mentally prepared for it.
All right, good. Yeah, because you'll definitely need that because Cincinnati was not cold. This is going to be a lot colder than what Cincinnati was most likely.
Yeah, you do realize I went to a Bills-Jets game in January of 2016, right?
Yeah, that is true. You did do that. So
yeah, I went to a game in January. This might not be nothing compared to it. I mean, people will say, "Oh, you're crazy. It's going to be cold up there." I'm like, you don't have to remind me. I've been to Buffalo before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you were up here. I was gonna say we went to a Sabres game like in the middle of winter the one time you were up here. So
yeah, like November, but it wasn't cold. Like it wasn't snowing. I mean, like it was snowing, but it wasn't snowing hard. From what I remember, I just remember the whole week just being cold, but it wasn't snowing until like when night falls. That's what I remember. But it wasn't crazy like how everybody likes to throw their hands up in the air and say, "Oh, Buffalo, it's so cold."
Right. Yeah. In fact, actually, that time you came in, I remember picking your ass up at the airport and dropping you back off. So
because I had no car. But
yeah, and then you were complaining like about that walk to that drugstore you had from the hotel in Tonawanda. So.
Well, I wasn't complaining about walking to the drugstore. I was complaining because I had no fucking ride to go anywhere. I could have went to, downtown. Right. I could have went to Charlie the Butcher. I could have done any of that, but I didn't have a ride because you were my guy.
Right. And plus where you were staying, I was about 20 minutes north of you. So it was all right. But
well, it was dirt cheap at the time. So I was like, it was a little different. But now we're kind of like brothers at this point.
Right.
So I'm literally coming into your house for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
You came to mine and I'm going to be coming to yours.
Yeah. And actually you're coming to my rental in my Airbnb. So it's all good. But yeah, it'll be a good time though. And nice thing about where you're going to be, you're close to a lot of things up in Lockport, so it'll be fun. You've actually seen a lot of that neighborhood. Actually I took you and your wife up there last time you guys were up here and got to see the locks and all of that, so you're going to be literally just right down the street from that, which is great. So it all works out.
Well, I'm sure I'm not far from Niagara Falls.
No, we're kind of like halfway in between Buffalo and Niagara Falls. So nice thing is it's like 20 minutes one way, you're at Niagara Falls, 20 minutes the other way, you're in Buffalo. So it's like the perfect halfway point.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so it works out. So it's all good. But no, it'll be good to have you. And the nice thing is, yes, high speed Wi-Fi, Roku TV, all that fun stuff, and all is good. So so we've got a spot, but needless here or there, we'll be ready for that next week. And then of course, in the meantime, we'll jump into the stuff on the shows. So if you want to give us a call, 929-205-6099, we'll get you on the air. And we got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. So let's make the next 45 minutes count. And the first thing was, of course, with this being the Bills bye week, lots of stuff went on, and there's a lot of crazy games in the NFL. At least the Kansas City Chiefs lost, so that helps. Philadelphia got their ass handed to them by San Francisco. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you want to know the one game I got this weekend because there was nothing else on at the time. You want to know what game I got?
Yeah, weren't you stuck with like the Jets or something crazy?
Yes, I had no choice but to watch that shitty Jets Falcons game on Sunday. Holy shit. The Jets, man. Oh my God. Like, yeah, we say it a lot. The Jets are stupid, but this was just utter ass. Imagine watching a hippopotamus at the zoo wagging its tail and just to say, I'm preparing to take a shit, and all you hear is that was the fucking Jets in a nutshell.
Oh, yeah, that was just straight up brutal, to be honest with you. And I do have to say this. I actually got stuck watching the Houston Texans game, which was actually pretty interesting, to say the least.
At least it's better than the fucking Jets. Let's be honest.
Yeah, true story.
Well, I mean, in your neck of the woods, I'm trying to ask Brittany, I'm like, how does Tom have the Houston-Denver game? Meanwhile, here in our own local area, we're stuck with the fucking Jets. That's what I don't. And another thing that was an issue is at the 1:00 slot on CBS, there was another program which I didn't give a crap about. There was no football on. So we were stuck with one game for 3.5 hours. And then we got multiple games at 4:25 because the other game we got besides Eagles 49ers on Channel 2 was the Buccaneers and the Panthers.
Wow. Yeah, that's totally crazy. It actually, you know, and I will say just a total sidebar real quick. Congratulations to your wife. She beat me in fantasy football this week. I'm actually surprised. I actually only lost by 8 when I was losing by over 50 going into Monday nights.
Yeah, Fitz massacred me this week.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But no, it was just interesting to see it because I'm like, holy crap, how did I make up all that ground in like one day?
Yeah, Britt's got a good team in fantasy this year. I'm remotely convinced that she's going to win it all.
It's going to be interesting. It might come down to me and her because, I mean, she ended up beating me like 201 to 192. So, and I was down at like 190 something to like 140 something going into Monday.
I'm all for it, honestly, watching you two kill each other.
Yeah. But no, we're both 9-4. So you know, even with that being said, it's, you know, it's still a good week, even with that. But yeah, let's go back to the Sunday though. Oh my God, we had some shitty football.
It's funny because Britt and I said the same thing, and we just sat there like, why? How does anybody enjoy this shit? I mean, you're getting Texans Broncos, we're getting the goddamn Jets, and then later we both get the Eagles 49ers game. Then the whole country gets the Packers and the Chiefs. And then the Monday night game, which was like, what's going on here? What is happening? I mean, Trevor Lawrence gets hurt, but they're saying that his injury is not severe like Joe Burrow or Kirk Cousins by any means. It was just more like his muscle got displaced for a little bit because it got stepped on, but it shouldn't be too bad. And there's a chance he might play Sunday. But generally speaking, it's kind of hard to watch football when the Bills are not on.
Right. Yeah, it definitely is. And even like what we've seen the last couple weeks in football, like that Monday night game, the Bears versus the Vikings, was absolutely one of the worst Monday night games I could ever think of.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was, I saw that game when we were in Philadelphia, and I just sat there. I'm like, how do these guys get paid professional money to play this game? And none of the, you know, the Bears or the Vikings, none of them showed up. Like
Yeah,
that's the part that threw me off.
it was just absolutely crazy with how that worked out. I'm like, how is this even possible? Where the Bears win, they don't score any touchdowns, they just win by field goals.
Somehow.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I don't
I
know.
mean, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I'm not used to seeing a late buy for the Bills. Usually their buys are in the range of week 7 through like 10. Like week 13 is a very late buy, which
Yeah,
it kind of made sense because the Bills needed some help in the bye week. You know, Miami beating Washington, that's like nothing because Miami's going to be dominating them in either way. Houston beating Denver, that was huge. Arizona beating Pittsburgh is huge.
mm-hmm.
And that's with Kenny Pickett being injured. I mean, we're hoping he's okay, but outside of that though, Arizona needed to win that game and I'm glad that they did.
Yeah, and Jacksonville beating Cincinnati certainly helps in some ways. So I mean,
They
there's
didn't beat
that.
Jacksonville. Cincinnati won.
Oh, sorry. All right. Well, we can scratch what I just said on that. But then the 6-0 game against New England.
Oh God, don't even remind me. What
Oh,
the fuck is going on in Foxborough?
I have no clue.
This is a team that Tom Brady played for. Are you joking me?
Uh-huh.
Like literally, you were right now shitting the bed so hard that I don't even know what to say. I'm like the Chargers are so bad offensively, and the Patriots are just as worse. And if I remember reading the stat correctly, I read a stat the other day saying the New England Patriots are the first ever team in NFL history to lose 3 straight games without scoring a double-digit points.
Yeah. Yeah. They lose 6-0 to the Chargers and they dropped to 2-10.
Damn it. New England
Oh,
sucks, dude. The Patriots suck.
yep.
They're
And it just proves Brady is the one who carried that team for all these years. It wasn't Belichick. It was not McDaniels. It was not O'Brien. It was none of them.
it was Tom Brady.
Exactly. Which means now that even though some people will, well, the New England fans will like ride Belichick's dick and they'll say, oh, Bill Belichick is the greatest coach that ever lived. Oh, his schemes are all perfect. No, it was because Brady knew what the hell he was doing. He was better than everyone else.
Well, yeah, I mean, Tom Brady dominated the NFL for 20 years. I mean, that makes perfect sense. But I guess when you're leached onto with Bill Belichick, the narrative of Bill Belichick being the greatest coach of all time kind of washes away a little bit. Like, I kind of look back on it and I say maybe Bill Walsh is the greatest coach of all time. At least that's my opinion. Bill Belichick may have those 6 Super Bowl rings, but he did not win those rings by himself, and he knew it.
Yeah, exactly. He was just there for the ride, basically.
It's kind of like the Boston Bruins. Like the team was really good last year, and yeah, they choked in the playoffs against Florida. But Jim Montgomery was just there for the ride, and people thought he was a phenomenal coach. It's happening again this year. The
Yeah.
Bruins have a really good team again, and Jim Montgomery is just behind the bench. He was just a passenger this whole fucking time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100% true. 100% true. So, with that being said, yeah, it was a crazy bye week. Nobody really missed anything. I will tell you
No,
that.
no.
And other than that, I know Rob's happy that at least Matt Canada's not screwing up for Pittsburgh anymore because they're actually in the AFC title race.
Well, apparently the ghost of Matt Canada came back this week to haunt the Steelers. It's the equivalent of the ghost of Christmas Past in the story with Ebenezer Scrooge, and he's like, "I've come back to haunt you from the past" or something like that.
Yeah,
Matt
the
Canada
random
literally did
lightning
that.
bolts, the random lightning bolts that caused the multiple weather delays.
Basically, it's like, what the fuck do you do from there? I
Uh,
mean, Matt Canada's ghost just came back and just took over the offense. It's just like, what do you do in that situation?
yeah. Exactly. Hey, Earth to the Roonies. Maybe you ought to look at Mike Tomlin. I know he's been there forever now, but you gotta start looking at him. And here's an interesting stat: Pittsburgh, they've had 5 coaches since like 1950 something. Carolina Panthers, on the other hand, 5 coaches in the last literally like 5 seasons.
Well, the Panthers are just a shit show. Dave Tepper is
Yeah.
a big part of the problem. And I apparently read a comment today saying that there was rumors going around with Frank Reich and Bryce Young saying that the locker room with the environment is being treated like as if it was something out of the Hunger Games.
Tepper's an idiot.
Yeah, I mean the Panthers are such a clown show, and I feel bad for Adam because at the time that he started rooting for them was like a year removed from the Super Bowl, and then they've just been shit since then.
Yeah. And then, of course, Tepper's like, oh, if you wanted CJ Stroud, we would have got him. But then of course, everyone got overruled and they ended up going the direction they did. And then now it's like Tepper's trying to say, oh, I never said that. Of course,
Yeah,
you did say that.
yeah, that he totally said he wanted Stroud. And even Adam was saying, get CJ Stroud. And the next thing you know, they take Bryce Young because, again, this is what happens when you have a hands-on owner who is way too involved. I mean, we should know this firsthand with the Sabres, which, my God, I can't wait to talk about them. But
we're going to talk about that in the second half.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about them. But what was I gonna say? It's when an owner gets too latched on to the executive front office and pretty much dictates and overrules the GM. You know you're in a bad situation, and that's exactly what's happening in Charlotte. Is Dave Tepper's way too involved with the executive department in Carolina, and he's just making move after move after move, and it's getting so bad with the Panthers that nobody wants to play there.
Right, and the exodus will continue. So in either case, with things coming back this week, Von Miller is actually expected to practice tomorrow with the Bills. And that was an interesting situation that came up over the bye week as well, because Von Miller was basically accused of domestic violence against his longtime girlfriend, where he then ended up turning himself in to the Dallas Police Department, got released on like $5,000 bail, and he is back with the Bills at this point. And basically, with how that whole situation unfolded, is that with the comments from Brandon Beane, they're just going to let the situation play out and then determine what they want to do after that. Which, okay, he's learned a little something from the Ariza situation, where you don't jump to conclusions, let things play out.
Yeah, at that point, I'm just like, the Von Miller situation is so interesting because, yeah, you're right. He learned from the Matt Ariza situation, because everybody, including ourselves, jumped on the bandwagon saying, if you are guilty, then you deserve to get caught. And I said it from the very beginning. I said this on season 3. I said, do not cut Matt Ariza. And what do the Bills do? They cut him.
And then it turned out, and even I know you said that, and even I was saying, is like, let the situation play out. If he didn't do it, then good. If he did do it, then that's a different situation, where then you take a look at it. And I know I was in favor of not cutting him. I know you were in favor of not cutting him. The Bills still cut him anyways. And then it turned out, oh, he never did it.
Yeah. And again, I said those same exact comments in season 3. So this was 2022 when I said those comments. And I said, do not cut Matt Ariza, because how do we know that he's innocent? And the Bills jumped the gun and they cut him, and they said, we don't want to get involved. And then a year later, it comes out, oh, it was just a whole big lie. And it's just like, okay, Von Miller comes up. And then it's like, all right, let's not make the same mistake again that they did for Matt Ariza. And so, first off, I have to say, I respect Von Miller as a football player, but I don't respect the man. I don't respect the man who hits a woman entirely. I have respect for women, and I know moral, behavior towards women. You're not supposed to put your hands on a woman unless they attack you first. Then that's the only way I get behind it. But the details, if you look at it, was said that they got into a huge argument because his girlfriend, who was apparently pregnant at the time, was making a statement saying that they got into a huge argument for whatever reason about planning for a vacation during the bye. And sure enough, she, quote unquote, slammed the door at his face and got angry, and he got violent. But you have those to take into consideration. This is not the first time Von Miller's been arrested. He's already been He's been arrested twice, and that was in Denver. And now the third time in Buffalo. People were saying that this is arguably the worst contract the Bills ever gave to a free agent, next to the whole Mario Williams deal. Well,
God, don't remind me of that contract.
Yeah. Or no, I'm sorry. Let me go back on top of that. Marcel Darius. Let's help. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that deal. So
Yeah, he crashed and burned in the league not too long after that.
yeah, a lot of people think that's gonna happen to Von Miller. Like, I don't really wish him to be cut, but if it's proven guilt, if he is proven that he is guilty, then obviously you have to make the change. Just let it play out. Let's see what the justice system does for him, because it's getting ridiculous that people jump the gun so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good old cancel culture is what we've seen lately. But yeah, just let it play out. I mean, obviously, if it is determined that he did do something and the allegations are true, then of course he's going to probably have to deal with the NFL personal conduct policy also and the legal deal with it. But just let it play out. We don't have all the details. Even if we knew all the details, there's probably stuff we couldn't even report on. So that's just kind of where we're at. But let it play out. And then, of course, in the meantime, at least with that Ariza situation, he's suing the accuser and the prosecutor and that lawyer that went after him. So hopefully, things work out for him. And that
Well,
instance.
people think that the contract is unmovable. Well, honestly, I don't see it that way, because there are loopholes in every contract.
Yeah.
And somebody made this comment on Buffalo Fanatics' story on a week ago. Yeah, it was on Thursday. And this is going from Spotrack. It's honestly not even worth discussing until the legal system plays it out. The contract holds too much dead weight right now to just outright get rid of him. But if Von Miller is somehow suspended for this season, or for this, or by any means, which so far it sounds like he's not going to be suspended, 2024 guarantees could be void, and portions of that signing bonus can be arbitrated to be paid back, and it will be paid administratively until further notice. So it frees up a roster spot, but that's about it. So in other words, even if they were to cut Von Miller tomorrow, the Bills will have to eat a lot of dead weight.
Yeah,
because of his actions.
You're still on the hook for the cap.
You're screwed for at least 4 more years. Because remember, he signed $120 million for 6 years.
Right.
And is on his way to burning the second year of that contract.
Yeah.
So unless he is proven guilty, the Bills have to find a way to get over this contract, because no matter what they do, what they can do is they can wait till June 1st to cut him, because then they only have to burn $15 million of that cap. So regardless how you look at it, people were saying for years, oh, why don't they trade Stephon Diggs? Because Stephon Diggs has a $37 million dead cap situation. Von Miller doubles that just from his extension.
Yeah, you do not want to get rid of that unless you absolutely, absolutely have to. And even then, you still want to not get rid of it. So in either case, let the system play out. Details will unfold as they unfold. But in the meantime, don't make the same mistake like we did with Ariza, and, just kind of go from there. And then, of course, a lot of times, you know how that goes. The Me Too people are like, oh, well, we didn't say cut him. Well, yeah, you did. That's the first thing you did. So in either case, we'll see what happens with Von Miller. But in the meantime, a couple other things in football that ended up coming up that we'll talk about. And of course, if you want to jump in and join us, we're live on the air, 929-205-6099. Zach Wilson is in the news again. And apparently the Jets are like, oh, we want him to be the starter again. And Zach Wilson's like, fuck you, I ain't coming back to start.
Oh my God. You know me. I live in this part of the woods. The Jets are stupid. I've said that so many times.
Right.
They are so fucking stupid. Okay. Where the fuck do I even begin with the Jets? Number one, how the fuck did you lose to Atlanta? That's number one.
Yeah, really. Atlanta's a mess as it is.
At least Atlanta is above 500. But holy shit, dude.
Yeah, their coach is on the hot seat to begin with, but in any case.
Robert Saleh should have been on the hot seat a year ago. And you know what? His seat is only getting hotter and hotter just for how loyal to at fault he was about Zach Wilson. Because first off, I have some interesting comments about this, by the way. And first off, why did you start Tim Boyle? Knowing full well the dude sucks.
Yeah, and he got cut right after the game.
Yeah, 2 days after the game, his ass gets cut. Who did the Jets bring in? Brett Rippon. But you want to hear something really pathetic?
Mm-hmm.
We were coming home remember when we were leaving for Cincinnati?
Yeah.
in the day that the Rams got Carson Wentz.
Yep.
So before he signed with the Rams, when we were in Cincinnati, Carson Wentz wrote a letter to the New York Jets, and he even had a conversation with the Jets. His agent hooked him up. And Carson Wentz goes up to the Jets and he says, "Hey, Jets, I know you're looking for a quarterback. I know you're not very fond of, Zach Wilson right now. And I know Aaron Rodgers is hurt and all that. And I wish him a speedy recovery. But you guys are going to need a quarterback and I am available. Is there any way I could get a tryout or at least show you my tape that I'm worth something? So if I work out and everything goes according to the plan, I could sign here." What do the Jets say? No.
They give him no.
No.
They
said
don't
no.
want you.
We don't want you here. Get the hell out of here. You have to be that stubborn to pass up on that kind of opportunity. What organization says no when someone else was willing to play for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unless you're Carolina, virtually nobody.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Carson Wentz got a job with the Panthers, they probably would say, yeah, I would gladly take on Carson Wentz. But yeah, he's not good. He wouldn't really solve many of the team's problems, but the Jets have a lot of issues that they have to work on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And quarterback is a big issue. And people are now being pessimistic. And again, you and I called it. I said the moment they signed Nate Hackett, we knew that this was the cherry on top that pretty much outright confirmed that Aaron Rodgers was going to be a New York Jet. And it happened for like 3 months of delay through all of offseason. And he didn't get traded until like a week before the draft. And it's just like, okay, you have Aaron Rodgers. What are you going to do with him? Mm-hmm. He gets injured, and then it's just utter mess. I feel like the Jets as a whole got a lot worse with their backup quarterback situation than they did when they had Mike White. If they had Mike White, the Jets would have been fine. But at that point, you get rid of him. He goes to the Dolphins, and now you bring in his buddy from Green Bay. And speaking of that, I should also mention Adrian Amos and Tim Boyle all got cut by the Jets, and they were all buddy with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my Lord. So the Jets really are stupid.
Seriously. And then there was a rumor that came out. When was this? A week ago? On Monday. Sorry. This was Monday morning. I found out like 9:30 in the morning. And it says right here that according to Ian Rappaport, he said that Aaron Rodgers will not play if the Jets are out of the playoff hunt, but he could be elevated to the 53-man roster and serve as the team's emergency third-string quarterback. And this would help him stay connected and involved with the team.
Oh my God, they're fucking delusional.
I'm serious. I have never, in any professional sport in my life I've ever watched, I have never seen a team this desperate for a quarterback for any sort of relevance. And you are clinging at fault to a 40-year-old who pretty much dictates your entire team.
Mm-hmm.
You know how unhealthy that is for any professional sports franchise?
Yeah, extremely unhealthy.
Look at the Cavaliers when they had LeBron. Look at the Edmonton Oilers with Connor McDavid.
Yep.
I mean, it's such a shit show. I mean, I remember this happened with the Nationals with Bryce Harper when they kept constantly losing in the NLCS and the NLDS and, in the wild card games in the past when he was in Washington.
Yeah. Look at the Sabres when we had Jack Eichel and we kept losing.
Oh, God, yeah. Don't even remind me, dude. Yeah. But the point is that you don't bring in an egotistic superstar. And the only reason, and I've said this before, is Aaron Rodgers only came to the Jets just so that he could get the fame. He does not give a shit about the team.
Right.
And I've said that for a long time. Since he got traded there, I said to you on Buffalo After Dark in season 3, I said, as dumb as the Jets are, because I knew they were going to fuck this up, I said that when the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, they weren't going anywhere. They might be worse. And I was right.
Mm-hmm. And it turned out that's exactly what we're seeing in the standings. They're not going anywhere.
No,
and it's
not.
like, yeah, and Aaron Rodgers, you can keep smoking the ayahuasca. You ain't coming back this season. It's just the bottom line there. But there is one other thing we got to worry about before we go into the second half. The Bills versus the Chiefs. And yes, I do have the stress ball.
Why do you have a stress ball?
I actually got this for free when the new hospital opened up, but I have it because it's one of those things every now and then with work. But that being said, the Bills versus the Chiefs got their ass handed to them. The Bills actually had a chance to win in Philly with a few botched calls, but right now the Chiefs are not exactly where they should be. But then that's the one thing we have to worry about because they could come out and be a very dangerous team, especially knowing that they took that type of loss.
Well, there's a plenty of flaws to point out on the Chiefs this year. Number one, they may be 8-4 in spite of the record. Their offense is so crap that you go from Eric Bieniemy, who leaves Andy Reid for Washington, to Matt Nagy, which is a serious downgrade. And then on top of all that, Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, his schemes are being exploited into oblivion. Philadelphia figured you out. Green Bay figured you out. Who else? Denver figured you out. Detroit figured you out.
Yeah, they took some bad losses.
Oh, yeah. And not to mention, Patrick Mahomes has no wide receivers. And the only legit receiver, quote unquote, that he can throw the ball to is Travis Kelce. He's the only receiver that's on the offense right now that can catch anything. Marcus Vance-Scantling couldn't catch a fucking cold.
Yeah, he's like Stone Hands Gabe Davis.
Yeah, well, Gabe Davis can at least catch a football, and that's not saying much because I mean, Gabe Davis is not that special, but as far as Gabe Davis, I'd rather take him than Marcus Vance-Scantling.
Yeah, and then look at Isaiah Pacheco as their running back. He's not been productive really much of this season, and he gets his ass thrown out of the game this past Sunday.
So the Chiefs are right now in an identity crisis. Like, yeah, you have Patrick Mahomes, which is good to have, and you have Travis Kelce, which is good to have. But
that's all you got.
Yeah, Travis Kelce is 34, 35. He's not getting any younger. Patrick Mahomes is almost 32, by the way. Yeah. Not 32, like 30 years old.
Yeah, and Kelce's been beat up this season a lot.
Well, so, again, this is what happens when you have one receiver to throw to.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. So, and a lot of teams, they know the scheme at this point. I mean, we saw it in Kansas City last year when we were there. Bills came out and beat Kansas City. They figured out this scheme, came back in the second half. They got the job done.
Yeah. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not going to say this is easy by any means, but I think if the Bills beat the Chiefs, they're going to be going on a roll here. I think if they can beat Kansas City, if they can go toe-to-toe, and I said this last week, if they can go toe-to-toe with the Philadelphia Eagles, they can go toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs are inferior right now than what Philly is.
Yeah. Philly is a much tougher team than the Chiefs.
At least this year.
Yeah. Much tougher team. Yeah. Much better defense to go against, too.
Kansas City is in deep shit with no receivers. And that's going to be their top priority in free agency come spring is get wide receivers for Patrick Mahomes. But as far as the Bills go, the Bills are getting healthier. You know, Dawson Knox's 21-day window opened today. Taylor Rapp is coming back. Dane Jackson's coming back. There's a handful of guys that are coming back pretty soon. So they're getting there. Von Miller is coming back to practice tomorrow, even though I really don't want him there. You know, you gotta need to use him for the time being. You kind of have to uphold that contract, but irrelevant. No, I think if the Bills are on the right track, if they push the right buttons, I think they could be KC.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll see what happens. They're back on the field this week. So with that, what we're going to do, we're right at the halfway mark of the show. So stay with us in the second half. We're going to talk hockey and we're going to jump into the dumpster fire that the Sabres is right now. So stay with us. We'll be right back. I'm Tom Wujek, co-host of Buffalo After Dark. Founded by Matthew Keeler, Dishin is a Buffalo-based fashion label focusing on continuous experimentation in hockey. Their work consists of products, content, and experiences that inspire creativity. Playful curation provides energy that sparks a unique perspective and an ideology around seeing the game differently. Now you can save. Log on to justdishin.com and use promo code WUJEK at checkout. You'll save 10% on all of your purchases. That is spelled W-U-J-E-K. Dishin has built an influential following devoted to the infusion of creative expression through high-quality goods and tasteful collaboration. If you love creative products that push the boundaries, check out Dishin. Visit their website at justdishin.com.
This is Buffalo's Uncensored Sports Show. You're watching Buffalo After Dark.
Welcome back to the second half of Buffalo After Dark. Of course, you got me, you got Bob here, and if you want to jump on and join us, 929-205-6099, we'll get you on the air. And the last half of the show, it's all about hockey. And of course, just to give you an idea, the Lightning is actually beating the Penguins 3-0, so they're actually doing something for a change. And Florida's up on Dallas right now, 3-1 in the second intermission. So, but we had some trades this week, and the big trade that did come up, Nikita Zadorov is on the road again because he is going to Vancouver.
Ooh. Well, if I remember correctly, I have the details of the trade for those who missed it. So Nikita Zadorov was traded to the Vancouver Canucks, which surprises me because these are big divisional rivals. And Calgary got a 2024 fifth-round pick and a 2026 third-round pick for Nikita Zadorov. Now, Nikita Zadorov requested a trade from Calgary a little while back, not too long, maybe like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And the next thing you know, he wanted to change his injury because he felt that the Flames were not going anywhere with him. So that's proven that theory right. And so he's a UFA. So he's like, I don't want to waste my prime years left in Calgary. I want to explore trade. And the next thing you know, I heard the Toronto Maple Leafs were on him. The New Jersey Devils were another team brought up. Obviously Vancouver. So Vancouver ended up winning the sweepstakes. They gave up 2 picks. And now the Canucks now have a hard-hitting defenseman to pair up with, because I mentioned on last week's episode, they traded Anthony Beauvillier that Wednesday, and they got him on that Friday. So, or no, I'm sorry, they traded him for that Thursday. So the trade happened the day after that episode came out. So we were just like, we didn't have a chance to talk about it. So now we're here, and Nikita Zadorov is now on the Vancouver Canucks. And guess where his first game was as a Canuck? At the Saddle Dome in Calgary.
Yep, and they got that rivalry going. So who would have thought Vancouver would be playing as well as they are in the Pacific and out west?
That's a big confidence shaker right there. Like, if you're having a really hot start, I would consider this as, you know, a treat, like a reward for the Vancouver Canucks. Because they've been playing so well this year, which surprises me. And then next thing you know, Patrick Alvini, who we all thought was a fucking moron when he first got the job as GM. And now look at him. He's going out there trading Anthony Beauvillier for nothing and then leaving up cap space to bring in a hard-hitting defenseman like Zadorov.
Yeah, it's getting him on the cheap. And it's like, man, you just like totally rebuilt your team in one season.
Yeah, one thing I noticed is that he's completely rebuilt that blue line.
Yeah, that's been a huge help for them. That was a big problem they had.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jim Benning was a dunce, but we all knew that. But Patrick Alvin, I have to give him props because Vancouver was like a fucking dumpster fire when Jim Benning was there. But even last year, everyone was just like, "Well, Patrick Alvin's a dumpster fire of his own." You know, making shitty deals and this and that, trading Bo Horvat for nothing. And then they flipped him for Beauvillier to Chicago, and then that turned into nothing.
Flip him again, yeah.
But seriously, Vancouver, I think, did a really, really good job, you know, really rebuilding that blue line.
Yeah, and if they can sustain it, I mean, they're going to be a tough team out there for several years to come. So that'll be a huge, huge boost out west. I mean, it's a great thing to see. So
now, I questioned though is before. Sorry, I cut you off, but I do wonder: is this a 1-year wonder for the Canucks, or is this like going to be a longevity thing?
I mean, if they can stay consistent, I mean, they have a possibility of having some longevity there, but I really want to see more of it first before I really say yay or nay on it. But if they can keep it up, and they've been playing pretty consistent, I mean, they haven't lost many games, and they've been like the few games I have watched, I mean, it's been pretty good with the effort all around. So it could very well be the real deal.
Well, they got to be consistent. That's the big thing for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah. But no, it's good to see they have a good fan base also. So it's good to see them playing good hockey again. So that's a big plus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of out west, Vegas, get ready for the NHL draft because you're going to have it in 2024.
Yeah, like it's good to know that they're gonna host the draft, but it's not just at T-Mobile Arena. They're gonna host the draft at the Sphere, which is the newest landmark in the United
Yep.
States. The freaking Sphere, which I think the Sphere as alone is pretty cool to look at, but it's basically a giant TV screen.
Yeah, basically that 360 screen on the strip. I'm like, all right, that is pretty sweet looking. And they have like robotics and all this other stuff in it. And it is definitely a crazy venue. But no, very cool, and I went to the draft when I was here in Buffalo, and it was a pretty good big to do and got to see a lot of different things there, which was great. Of course, that was the time I actually got to meet Noah Hannafin in person, got some pictures with him. So it was pretty cool to meet him and also be with the replica cup, which of course we get to stand next to the real cup coming up. So that'll be fun. But at the same time, the draft is a good experience. If you ever get a chance to go to it, definitely go to it. It's worth it.
Yeah, but as far as the Sphere goes, it's nice to know that the NHL is thinking outside of the box here. And apparently, this is going to be the last NHL draft before they decentralize. In other words, they want to make it like the NFL draft, where they want to get the fans involved, which what they should have done this years ago.
Yeah, it's like what took them so long?
Yeah, and it's going to be held on June 28th to June 29th. So it's a 2-day span, not a 3-day span. So notice how the NHL is now only doing 2 days rather than just 3 like the NFL.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm fine for them doing it in 2. It's like don't drag it out any longer than it has to be.
Right. Like I can understand the first round. The first round, you want to find out who your team is taking.
Yeah.
But then like the second round, it gets pretty interesting early. But I think it starts to really chime down when you get to the third or fourth round.
Yeah, and even when you look at it, think about it on the NFL side of things. I mean, once you get past round 3, nobody gives a shit. So it's like from that part with the NHL, yeah, do it in 2 days. Maybe show like the first 2 rounds or whatever. Those are the 2 rounds that everybody cares about and everyone wants to see where players are going.
Without a doubt. And I think that it's going to be good for the NHL. If they can get the fans involved, then that's going to be a huge win. But again, they don't really advertise the league like the NFL does or the NBA. And that's a big problem because Bettman's too stubborn to do it. So instead of doing what the NFL's been doing, which has been doing international games and try to get more countries involved, it's going to be a big factor. So for Bettman, I think he failed miserably in that position. But to say that, to get it in a landmark like the Sphere, I think is a good start.
Yeah. And it definitely should give some more visibility to the sport, which is great. So it'll be fun to watch, especially with how Vegas can put on a good show over there. And I know they're going to make a big deal out of it. So it'll be absolutely one of those things, it'll be worth watching and definitely encourage you to do that. With that being said, we have 2 last things we want to go into, and I want to keep as much time as possible for us talking about the Sabres because I know we got a lot to say about that. But one thing that did come out within the last day or so is the NHL salary cap is going up, which is good. It's happening again. So there's going to be more money to throw around.
Yeah. So at the Board of Governors meeting in Seattle, Gary Bettman announced on yesterday that the Board of Governors has agreed to do a projected revenue of $6.2 billion, which the salary cap, because I think it's at what, 83 million?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I think it's like 83 or 83.7, something like that.
Yeah. The cap for next year, 87.7 million, so almost $88 million. And the cap is going to go up and up and up every year moving forward.
Good. And it should.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to see. We'll have more money to play around with, more money we can work with on free agency, and also with other deals that'll be coming down the pipeline. So absolutely great to see that. And of course, last chance, if anyone wants to call in, you can give us a shout, 929-205-6099. And the fun thing is we have a good 15 minutes left. So let's spend it all and rant about the Sabres, because all I can say is this: What the fuck have we been watching the last few nights?
I ask myself that every night before I go to sleep. What the fuck is going on with this team? What is anything with this fucking team? Like, I don't understand.
It's like, okay, you beat the Rangers, and then you can't do anything against the Red Wings.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything against the Red Wings. You couldn't do anything against the Predators, and you sure as hell couldn't do anything against the Hurricanes. And you got bitch slapped by the Devils a week before.
Yeah,
So
you got smoked by the St. Louis Blues.
Oh,
you got
yeah,
destroyed by the Pittsburgh Penguins a little further back.
Yeah, and one other thing. If I'm Don Granato, stop fucking starting Eric Comrie.
Oh, God, that was bad.
That dude fucking sucks. I don't understand why Eric Comrie is on this team. You have Devin Levi. You have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Oh, he's sick. We have to call up Devin Levi. Oh, and then Eric Comrie. What the fuck is Eric Comrie's role on this team?
Right. I mean, Levi got a freaking shutout in his first start down in Rochester to give you an idea of everything.
Yeah,
which is it's good to see him.
Shots too.
Rochester. Which is absolutely insane. So props to Levi, and I love the fact that he did accept and he is, honing his skill, which is great. But good God, Comrie.
You do realize that Levi got called up because UPL is sick.
Yeah, which even in that case, why not start Levi? Start him. I mean, Comrie let in 2 goals, 5-hole, for Christ's sake.
That dude couldn't stop a cold if his life depended on it. Eric Comrie is so fucking bad. Like, the last time I can think of a Sabres goalie that was this consistently bad, I don't know. I can't keep track. The Sabres have had a really, really, really long list of bad goalies.
Let's see. Darren Pupa was one of them, which they called him Swiss cheese because he let everything in.
Darren Pupa, okay.
He's definitely one.
Mikko Nornen.
Mikko Nornen was not that good.
Ty Conklin.
Yeah, true. Although he had the oversized pads, that's the only thing that helped him.
Michael Telkvist.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ. What about Patrick Lalime?
Lalime wasn't that great. Steve Shields was okay to an extent.
Yeah, I mean,
but he wasn't great.
Yeah, Anders Lindback was bad. I can't really say Marty Biron. Marty Biron was pretty good.
He played fairly well for the time he was here. He just didn't have any line to protect him.
Yeah, that's true too.
But he still made some great saves. I mean, when he took the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I can't give Marty too much crap, if I'm being completely honest. By the way, I got called the Sabres goalie apologist today because I made a comment about Carter Hutton saying how much ass he sucked when he was in Buffalo.
He did.
Yeah. So I'll read you the quick message I got on Instagram. And it's hilarious because I got called the Sabres goalie apologist. Just kind of sums up this whole vibe about the team. So the comments right here, it says, typical Sabres goaltending apologist, you get what you paid for. Seriously, how's that our fault? That was all Botterill's idea.
Right.
Fucking idiot. Oh, Robin Leonard, he didn't pan out either. Like, fuck, dude. Like, how many goalies have the Sabres have had in the last 15, 20 years that have been so consistently bad? Like, I can't think of any. Jonas Enroth was okay, at least.
Yeah, he was okay. I mean, Linus Ullmark was okay.
Well, at least Omar got a job in the NHL outside of Buffalo with Boston.
Yeah, and he's actually been playing pretty well with them, too.
Is he a Vezina goalie finalist? No,
but he's serviceable.
He's serviceable, yeah. Who else is on that list? Oh, I know one. Jonas Johansson. He's been pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the list goes on and on and on. But the Sabres today, I can't comprehend this shit. I really fucking can't. The only thing that Kevin Adams has going for him is that the dude knows how to draft. But anything else, like you're supposed to do as GM, you're supposed to bolster the team. You had a golden opportunity to bring in a veteran goalie to mentor Levi so that the plan was for him to go to Rochester and develop for a full season, but you don't bother. Instead, you bring back the degenerates that were supposed to be told to fuck off last year, and yet,
Exactly.
and you bring them back. And again, and again, and again. Kyle Laposo, that dude is done. 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 Sucks. Get him the fuck off the team. Kyle Laposo can't skate. He can't shoot the puck. You know what's another problem I have, Tom? Is the top six as a whole is so bad at scoring. Like, that's an issue.
It seriously is. And okay, Tage Thompson comes back. That's one thing. But even still, when your most consistent player is Rasmus Dahlin, I don't know where you go here.
Yeah. And then Dylan Cousins had the audacity to say, oh, this team plays soft. Yeah, you're damn right the team plays soft, Dylan. But you're also held accountable for half of your shit that you pulled off this year. Oh, I'm Dylan Cousins. I'm going to just shoot a wide open net against the fucking Red Wings with an empty netter. Whoop, gone.
Right.
And it's like, Jesus Christ, dude. And you know what's really embarrassing? Instead of making these players earn their contracts, Kevin Adams gave out these contracts in the middle of the summer and gave them out like they were candy, thinking, okay, they're going to make some big strides. But no, they just regressed badly. So what did the Sabres do in panic mode? Oh, yeah, let's just trade for 28-year-old left winger Eric Robinson from the Columbus fucking Blue Jackets.
Yeah, that's the other thing we want to talk about today, too. And of course, good job, Columbus. You basically gave them to us for nothing.
Like, what the hell is that going to do?
Yeah. Basically, conditional 7th round pick as long as he plays 45 games. Good luck.
Yeah. And what's even worse is that, again, going back to my original statement, this is basically last year's team. And the only difference is you added a 36-year-old out of his prime defenseman and a degenerate who's 28 years old and is getting paid $3.5 million to turn the puck over.
Yeah. What the hell is the sense in that? And then on top of it, these line combinations are not working. And then as we look at what we saw with the game last night, with what we saw with the game against the Predators, what we saw against the Blues, how do you expect to win if you don't start controlling the play until the third period? I mean, seriously, if the Sabres would have come out the way that they did in the third period to start the game against the Detroit Red Wings, we could have won it. I mean, we literally scored 3 unanswered goals. And then, of course, on the 6-on-4, how the hell do you let Detroit score an empty netter?
It's pathetic.
It is.
Like this team is so fucking pathetic. Like, can you really blame anybody in this region to actually say, yeah, I'm a Sabres fan, but I should be thankful for how bad they've been this year?
I know, seriously. It's like literally a lot of the games have wanted me to put to sleep, wanted me to actually fall asleep during it. And there have been a couple times, I will say, honestly, I have fallen asleep watching it because this team is so fucking boring.
How do you think I feel as the Islanders sometimes?
Oh God. Yeah. But at least you have a pretty decent roster overall, but still it's like, okay, Don Granato, you got us to a certain point. It's time to go. And I think right now, I'm going to say this on the show. I think it's time to fire him, and it's time to bring in Gerard Gallant, because right now we are still under 500. We have a team that on paper should be at least a wild card team, and we're not getting there.
Yeah, quick update. The Dallas Stars have tied the game.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's 3-3 in South Florida. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, you have a talented roster. You've got a good young core. You have people you can go to. But the things that haven't been addressed, you still have bad goaltending. You're still not working. You're still not clicking, especially with your front six. Your defensive pairings are absolute crap for the most part. It doesn't help that Samuelson's been hurt most of the time because of the fact that he's made of glass. It doesn't help that Comrie sucks ass every single time he's in net. It doesn't help that you tried rushing Levi, and I get why you tried rushing Levi because of the fact that he's your only good goaltender besides UPL. But it's like, Granato, it's not a development situation. You're here to get wins. And right now you're what, 10, 14, and 3 or something? I mean, I'm sorry, Granato, but in 3 seasons that you've been the coach, when you're only like a 484 rating, it's time to go, bud.
You know what's really sad too is this. The Sabres are 10-14-2 with 26 games played, 22 points, 14th in the Eastern Conference. And you know what? They're a minus 16 with below. And guess what? Let me read this to you as well. They are 0.423. That's their 500 ratio points. They are literally below 500.
And this team shouldn't be. Team shouldn't be. But I gotta say, Adams, you gotta get us a veteran goaltender who doesn't suck and let everything in 5-hole like Comrie.
Yeah. You want to know something really, really embarrassing? I'll read you something that's really embarrassing. Yeah. You ready? The New York Rangers, 18-5-1 with 24 games played, 37 points. They're above 700 and it's a plus 16. You want to know why that is, Thomas?
Because they actually have good goaltending and they actually have a decent line?
Yes, no, decent, but that's not what I'm aiming for. You want to know who's on that coaching staff that the Sabres let go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Want me to say his name?
Yeah.
I gladly will.
Yeah.
Michael Pekka. Michael Pekka is an assistant coach for Peter Laviolette with the New York Rangers. What do the Sabres do? Nah, go ahead. Go join the Rangers. What are we going to be stuck with? Yeah, we're going to be stuck with Mike Bales and Matt fucking Ellis.
Matt Ellis, the career underachiever.
Jesus Christ. This team is so fucking bad. Like, I don't understand this. They've been so bad for 12 to 13 years. They've been bad for the majority of my adulthood. I haven't seen this team make the playoffs since I was in high school. It's like,
yeah. And Matt Ellis never was a good player with the Sabres when he was up here in the first place. So it's like, he wasn't a good player. How do you expect him to coach the current line of players that's up here?
And people think all of a sudden now is the time for Terry Pegula to sell the team. And I've said this for many, many years, Tom, is ever since the Pegulas bought the Bills, they stopped giving a shit.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped giving a shit, and it clearly shows.
Right. At least in one way, at least they have their hands off the Sabres for the most part. But at the same time, it's like, get us a goaltender. Get us some additional defensemen. Get us some players that we can actually work with on offense. You have the salary cap now that it went up. Go get somebody.
The only problem is that can't happen until June. That's a problem, number one. Number two, Kevin Adams is a pussy. I'm just going to say that straight up. You're a goddamn pussy. Like, you didn't have any time through June to September to address the goaltending, and you also didn't have enough room to bring in another scoring winger and maybe another younger veteran defenseman in his mid-20s. But no, you just have to cuddle everybody. You just have to just smooch it out with Eric Johnson and Connor Clifton, who is, by the way, one of the worst fucking pair of defensemen on this fucking team.
Yeah. Oh,
it's so embarrassing.
Oh, and Florida just went up 4-3 against the Stars.
Good. Dallas could shove it up their ass.
Yeah. But, and here's the other thing, too. He's like, oh, Rockabye Baby, Eric Comrie is my buddy. He's someone I have to enjoy every single night because he's the one who knows how to do me right.
Why didn't you just trade him to Columbus?
Exactly. You could have. You could have thrown him in that deal with that just happened earlier today.
I can't stand it. I can't fucking stand it. Eric Comrie couldn't stop a beach ball if his life depends on it.
Could have thrown him in on the Eric Robinson trade. At least you're getting rid of somebody and adding by subtraction. And even then, it's like you're getting Eric Robinson for nothing.
Sorry to say this to all the women that watch the show, but watching Eric Comrie is like trying to get an abortion. You're trying to desperately kill this baby. That's exactly what the Sabres are doing. They're trying to kill Eric Comrie. He is so fucking bad. Like, you can't... God, you can't undermine this. Who thought that it was a good idea to bring in Eric Comrie? Craig Anderson, I completely understand because, he was a veteran looking for money.
Yeah, and he was a good goaltender.
He was a good goalie at the time, and we all thought he was going to be a flop. And he turned out to be one of the better goalies on the team.
Yeah, and then he actually gave us stability.
And they compare that to Eric fucking Comrie. But it's not all Comrie's fault. It's also the blue line. It's also the fact that the top six, with everybody in their lines not clicking. It's like nobody can score. This is also on Granato for being so buddy-buddy with everybody.
And not adjusting the system and not being a hard ass like John Tortorella.
Or Peter Laviolette.
Exactly.
The Islanders have the same problem with Lane Lambert.
That was still the stupidest move Lamoriello made by getting rid of Barry Trotz.
Oh, I agree. I'm just waiting for Lou Lamoriello to drop dead at this point.
What is he, like 500 years old at this point?
Yeah, he's pretty much like Emperor Palpatine level.
Okay. That figures. Yeah, it'll happen. Not, we don't wish death on anybody, but
No. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that there has to be a change down here on Long Island. Lou Lamoriello is getting too old. He's almost dead at this point. He's like 83 years old. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Lane Lambert is just a protege to Barry Trotz.
Exactly.
So Don Granato was just a protege for Ralph Kruger. So Don Granato is basically just a protege from the Ralph Kruger era, but the Sabres were too fucking cheap to get rid of everybody. And unfortunately, we're now stuck with this guy who had one good year. All of a sudden now, everybody thinks he was going to be a great coach.
Yeah.
And instead, it's just a big thumbs down, down, all the way down to the prostate, and you rip it the fuck out.
Exactly. And he has not adjusted the system. He hasn't changed the system. He's thinking, oh, let's keep fitting a square peg in a round hole. And let's just keep coming back and see what the results are. If your system doesn't work, you change it. That's what you have to do. You go out and get the players and you adapt. You adapt your system to who you have. That's what good coaches do. That's what Gallant did. And he even got fired in Vegas for having a good year.
It's like trying to stick your dick in a Cheerio with Granato. Like,
yeah,
it's so bad, Tom. And I'm the only Sabres fan that will ever stand up to everybody, that will fight with you. You know what I mean? I will fight with any other Sabres fan in that platform and anywhere. I will go toe-to-toe with Dwayne Steinel. I will go toe-to-toe with Jeremy White. I will go toe-to-toe with the other degenerates at WGR 550 and let them know straight head that these guys fucking suck. But nobody will admit it.
Right. Well, Florida just went up 5-3. So at least we got something good going on right now. At least Dallas is getting their ass handed to them in the third period, but
at least that's what we all want to think, right?
Yeah, exactly. But this Sabres team is a mess. And even better, we're going to be going there in person and actually watching a game together while you're up here.
Yeah, December 19th against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Like, personally, I'm excited for it because it's been my first Sabres game in 3 years.
Yeah. And even better, Sabres Black Friday sale. We got tickets for $24 a piece.
Hell yeah. But you know what it is? It's one thing, like, for me, because I'm an out-of-town guy, it's one thing for me to go to the game and be excited. But if you're locally a resident in Buffalo, it's not even worth it.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's not even worth it.
Yeah, this will be the first Sabres game I've gone to, I think, since 2019. So
really? It's been that long?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, I didn't bother going like during the COVID era. I didn't bother going to anything last year or the year before because we suck so much. So I'm like, okay, see what happens, but it is what it is. But hey, memo to Kevin Adams. You gotta fix goaltending and you gotta fix that group of six.
I expect him to sit on his hands and do nothing. Oh yeah, we just have to draft a bottom feeder like Jordan Greenway or trade for Eric Robinson. Why is it that he's so dependent on these young kids? Like, they're not plants. You don't just put seeds on the roots and you water it and just expect it to sprout like that. You don't expect that to happen with kids in the NHL like that.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
I haven't been this angry on BAD like ever. And I think I've gotten to my breaking point with them. Like, I am so sick of this shit. I mean, I'll still root for them, no question. But it's like, I am so fucking done with this team. I am so done with the ownership. I am so done with the coaching staff. I am so done with the incompetence. I am so over this shit.
I hear you. our guest co-host Andy is in the chat, and he basically said, $24, eh? I'm like, yep, 300 levels where it's at. And then he did mention it does take 2 teams to make a trade, but which we understand it. But at the same time, Kevin Adams has got to be more aggressive when it comes to trades.
No, the problem with Adams is, I mean, personally, I like him as the GM, but I don't love him. I think I think he can be a good GM. Like, he knows how to draft. I'll give him credit. But
yeah, it's better than Botterill when it came to that.
Yeah, I mean, he knows how to draft, which I'll give him credit for. But as far as like free agency and trades and things like that, that dude sucks ass. You know what's bad when the Blue Jackets straight up said, we don't want your pick. Just take our guy.
Right. Yeah. And actually, Trevor's in the chat too. He said, hey, don't worry. It's Bandits season.
Trevor, I feel for you, brother. I do. Like, listen, I'm not a lacrosse fan by any means, but I wish the Bandits all the best in the world. Go win that NLL title again if they won it. I don't really know, but I do wish them all the best moving forward.
Yeah, same here. And actually, Trevor did mention he actually got on TV last night during the game. He was wearing his Bandits Mark Stainhouse jersey.
Oh, really? So Trevor finally got his 15 minutes of fame.
Yep. which actually, Trevor, if you're around while Bobby's up in our neck of the woods, let us know. We'll go out and have a beer or something. So
Trevor, please come see me. I'm gonna be in Buffalo next week, buddy. Please come see me. God damn it.
Yep. And then Adam and then Andy actually says also Adams whiffs on goaltending like the assistant GM needs to shake him and say, hey, we need a goalie, bud.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, Adams will be going around knocking on the door of every GM in the NHL, and he'd be like, excuse me, do you guys have goaltenders that we can look at? Hey, Edmonton, do you have Jack Campbell we can look at? Wait, never mind. He's got $5.5 million in his cap. Well, stop with the fucking money and get a goddamn netminder. I don't want to hear excuses about Eric Comrie. That dude sucks ass. He sucks more balls than, I don't know, than the fucking Maple Leafs goaltending system right now. They're more worse than the fucking Oilers themselves.
Oh God, that's pretty bad.
You know what? I would rather put my head up a moose's asshole with its shit stains in my teeth than having to listen to Eric Comrie give up more goals than the Dallas Stars have Stanley Cup.
And then he says, "Oh God, Bobby is in Buffalo. Hide the children."
Yeah, good. I'm not even a Buffalonian, and I'm so pissed at you.
Right. But then he also says, hey, 2 words, Mackenzie Blackwood.
Dude, I'm telling you, Mackenzie Blackwood freaking sucks. Like, he'd be a better option than Comrie, but Jesus Christ.
Oh, man. That'd be funny to hear what Rob says about Mackenzie Blackwood. He's pretty familiar with him.
Oh, dude, Rob would tell you straight up. He's like, dude, that guy sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Rob would be the first one to tell you that he hated Mackenzie Blackwood. He hated Brent Burns. He hated all of these guys that did nothing, that were superstars.
Right. It's very true. But
Rob would tell you that firsthand.
Oh, I know he would. He's done it before on here in the past. So
yeah. So if you were the GM, Tom, what would you do in that situation?
You got to look at goaltending first and foremost. You got to get rid of Comrie. I would have shipped him out on that Robinson deal, quite honestly, just at least to get rid of him. And even Trevor brings up a point. He said we had a shot at Thatcher Demko, but GM Dumbfuck didn't go for it.
Oh, how about this one? Fuck bunny. How about Logan Thompson?
Yeah, another one.
Logan Thompson wants to change the scenery. Yeah, Vegas won a cup, but he lost the job to Aiden Hill. Yeah, when you lose the starting job to a fucking backup, you know there's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. It means you're not good enough.
Yeah, I know. I'm so mad. Listen, y'all. I feel like tonight, I'm in classic Sabres Talk 365 mode, where for those of you who don't know, I used to run a Sabres page on Facebook 10 years ago, and I used to go on Facebook every night or YouTube and just bitch and moan about the Sabres, rightfully so. And I feel like I'm going back to that mode on this one fucking episode.
Yeah. And actually, and right off the bat, Andy said he would take Thompson in a heartbeat. So
yeah, I've made a video about this topic. I made a video about this a few months ago. So if you haven't seen the video, go on my channel at Buffalo Bob on YouTube and look up Logan Thompson. And
it's all there.
My video is right there. And I explain why I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, 100%. And it is still a good idea. So, hopefully he'll get to that point. But right now, Yeah, the Sabres are an absolute misery.
Trust me, I wouldn't trust Kevin Adams to grow a stash of potatoes if I needed to.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Exactly. But
I'm almost out of energy at this point just
yeah,
from throwing a fit.
yeah. But you know what? Hey, it was a good way to end the show, though. We got out a lot of stuff we wanted to get out. So, with that, of course, as we're up here, you're gonna be up here next week. So actually, we record before you come up here next week. So, so of course, we do have Road to 32 coming up. We'll share some more details about that next week, and then I know we're still going to talk about some places that we're going to visit. Obviously, part of the trip, we're going to go to Toronto for the Hockey Hall of Fame because I know you want to see that again, and certainly I'm up for seeing that again as well.
I already
So
bought tickets, so it's all
nice. Yep. So we'll take care of that. But in the meantime, since wifey's calling me again, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. But we want to say, of course, everyone joining us tonight, thanks for watching us as usual. We appreciate it. And of course, as always, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next week. And who knows, maybe the stress ball is going to come back.
Yeah, please keep the stress ball in your pocket because I know you're gonna want to use it for the Sabres game.
Yep. So thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your night. We'll see you next week.
And Trevor, one more thing before we go is if you have a copy of your long hair from like a year or two ago, can I please borrow it for a few games or a few nights when I'm in Buffalo so that way I can throw a bitch fit?
Oh God. See you guys.